to Big Beats Fucking Metal Show. Welcome to Big Beats Fucking Metal Show.
Yo, what up, boys, and welcome back to Big Pete's Metal Show. And today we're going to be counting down the top 10 albums, including honorable mentions, of the year 1987. Now, this year, if you know your shit, is another huge year for thrash metal, as was 1986, because this list is pretty much going to be 90% thrash metal, 95 if you, we'll get to that one. But, let's get into this bitch. First, let me get my hat. Okay, so flying in at number 10 on this list, we have Destruction and their sophomore album, Eternal Devastation. Yep, this is the Mad Butcher cover because this also includes Mad Butcher and Eternal Devastation. And, you know, we're not going to put the actual album on the cover because who the fuck knows why. Yeah, it's on the back. It's just something that kind of pisses me off. Sorry about that. But yeah, other than stupid design, great album. Fantastic. Like, so many classic Destruction tracks on there, like Curse the Gods and, you know, whatnot. And the other 6 tracks. Yeah, it's a 7-track album. Pretty short. Coming in at number 9, we have Death Angel's debut album, The Ultra Violence. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Death Angel, you're gay, and you need to change that. And what's unique about this band and this album and its release at the time is that all the members were under 17 years old. The drummer was 14. Mark, the singer, I think was the oldest. He was 17. All the other guys were like 15, 16. They just did a fantastic job for being basically teenagers. And coming in at number 8, we have another debut album by the legendary band Death. As many would argue, this is the first death metal record. Scream Bloody Gore by Chuck Schuldiner. Rip boy, we miss you. Anyway, it's kind of thrashy. It's basically like a really heavy version of like a thrash album, but you know, with the new Death vocals, and you know, there's some other little death metal motifs that go on to shape future death metal styles also in that album. So that's why I said it's kind of like half thrash, like 95% thrash on the list. Alright, Bentley, Rick, almost said your real name. Rick, say goodbye to everyone. Time to leave. Coming in at number 7, we have the third album by Kreator. Third album in 2 years. Pretty good. They use the shit material out like crazy. Terrible Certainty. And this album is classic thrash. It's not as straight up brutal as its predecessor, but it's nonetheless a solid piece of thrash and definitely worthy of remembrance on the list. Now, number 6, we have another debut album, this time by fucking Thrasher's Sacred Reich, Ignorance. Arguably obviously their heaviest album, whereas future albums would still maintain the thrash sound but be more of a groovier version. Well, this is complete balls to the wall, thrashy speed. This is probably the purest form, some of the purest form of thrash metal out there. Now, another completely pure form of thrash metal, coming in at number 5 on the list, is sophomore album by the German thrashers Sodom, where their first work was a little bit more black metal and not as strong as you might want a debut album to be. Their sophomore album, Persecution Mania, definitely fucking thrashed away at that one. They really blew it out of the park with this one, and this is just a heavy, classic fucking album, and I can't recommend enough. Now, this seems to be debut album list, because we have another debut album, this time by the legendary Testament. Yep, their first album, The Legacy, came out in 1987, and so many classics right off the bat, like Over the Wall, The Haunting, Burnt Offerings, First Strike Deadly, Apocalyptic City. They still play a lot of these songs live, and this album is just pure awesomeness and fun. And Testament, number 4. Number 3, we have New Jersey fucking boys Overkill with their sophomore album. Seems to be a lot of debut and sophomore albums in this list. However, Taking Over. Now this album opens on Deny the Cross, which is one of my favorite Overkill tracks, and we got Wrecking Crew and Use Your Head, Fatal If Swallowed. Some going back to some of the older stuff, like on their debut EP, popped up in this record. But just an incredible piece of thrash metal. And number 3. Number 2, we have Exodus sophomore album. First with the new singer, Steve. As you know Zetro, the good old boy. We got Pleasures of the Flesh with that classic album cover of them all sitting on the bar, which was they had to change it because the other one was too violent or something. It was cannibalistic. They couldn't sell it like that. Whatever. It just proves that they were just too heavy for the time. This album is got, the title track, Pleasures of the Flesh, and many other songs on this record, are just straight classics. And a lot of them they do still play live today. And Exodus is just an incredible band, and probably one of the best thrash metal bands out there. And, fun fact, the first, because they formed in 1979, before like all the other guys did, 2 years before like any of the other thrash guys did. So before we get to number 1, I'm going to go over a few honorable mentions. Not really going to talk much about it. The sophomore album by Tankard, Chemical Invasion, almost made it onto the list, but this list was so hard to rank, so ended up as an honorable mention. Great album. Now I meant to grab Suicidal Tendencies, Joining the Army. That should be another honorable mention. I accidentally grabbed How Will I Laugh Tomorrow. Fuck me, I don't have it with me. But yeah, Join the Army, second honorable mention. Number 3 is Voivod, Canadian prog thrashers, whatever you want to call them. Killing Technology. This is my last honorable mention. Great album. Good shit. Now, number 1, it wasn't obvious enough already. If you know your 1987 metal, we have Anthrax, Among the Living. Now, this is arguably one of the best thrash albums ever made, and so many classic songs. Among the Living, the title track, Caught in the Mosh, I Am the Law, NFL, Indians. Anthrax still plays like half of this album live at every concert, and it's just you can't not put it in number 1 because it's undeniable. The ferocity of the music and the impact this album had, and it really set them as one of the big 4 at the time this came out. And if you don't think Anthrax should be in the big 4, fuck you. Anthrax is awesome. Joey Belladonna's vocals are the shit. Not shit, the shit. Big difference. Awesome fucking dudes. And I think he's even better now in the new stuff. Anyway, that's my list. I'm going to stop fucking rambling. This has been Big Pete's Metal Show. Until next time, listen to metal, keep it brutal, and fuck posers.